welcome to episode number 6. We are rolling through these episodes. This is Empire State Hoops. I am your host, Adam Rothschild, alongside Matthew Vargo. And today's episode of Empire State Hoops has been powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So, Matt, welcome back from, I'm sure you had a nice break from episode 5 after I had my special guest, the Knicks recap, who was on. Shout out to Troy once again. Thank you for joining me in episode number 5 for our opening night preview that we had last week. So, Matt, welcome back. How you feeling today?
Feeling good. Feeling rested, rejuvenated. It's been a while. I'm really upset I wasn't able to be on the last episode. I had film class that night, but, you know, excited to be back. Excited to talk about some regular season hoops now.
Yeah, and the season is finally underway, as it's great to just have basketball back in New York as per usual. So, 3 games in, Boston, they lose, which we kind of expected.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They go into Atlanta. They get a win. It was a gritty one.
Mm-hmm.
They had 2 turnovers in the last minute of the game, and somehow they find a way to win.
Yep.
Then we get to New Orleans. You go up against Brandon Ingram and a healthy Zion. You blow it. It's like, what happened? Like, just, it doesn't make sense to me. So we're going to go through these 3 games, break them down, let you know what happened, and what we think could have been better. So we'll start with Boston. They go against their new acquisitions, Porzingis and Drew Holiday.
Yep.
And Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, they got hounded by Drew Holiday.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Drew Holiday, I know he didn't put up the really flashy offensive stats. He only had 9 points and was 4 for 10. But the defense that he was playing, especially on the perimeter, was just Knicks fans, not just, the Knicks players, they were throwing fits every time he was out there. I believe they shot 4 for 23 for the whole game when Drew Holiday was the primary defender on any of the Knicks players. Honestly, nobody shot particularly well for the Knicks on opening night in front of the Garden, which was weird. I thought they would have had the confidence and the whole vibes around being at MSG on opening night. It just didn't happen. Quickly was the only player who shot well for the Knicks. He had 24 points, which tied RJ, but he only did it in 28 minutes off the bench, so that was not great. And then, especially on defense, like, Kristaps Porzingis looked like Kevin Durant out there on opening night. The man had 30 points, was 5 of 9 from 3, 8 of 15 overall. The man couldn't miss. Like, I was watching the game in the studio, and every time it left his hands, I'm just like, he got it. And it's like, Liv's got it, and he just kept on keeping on, man. It is what it is there.
Like, you just talk about the hustle plays. Like, this is everything the Knicks had when they drafted Porzingis. People were just pissed. And now he comes in a Celtic uniform and just, destroys us. It's painful, but, the Knicks fought hard. But we talk about these stats here. Like, Drew Holiday held Jalen Brunson to 6 for 21, and he held Julius Randle to 5 for 22. Like, that just shows how good of a defender he is. Like, we got to give Boston some credit. We have to. We know we've talked about their weak bench, but they showed out. We saw Hauser. We saw Peyton Pritchard get good minutes. So we really can't say bad things about Boston. You really can't.
Well, the thing is with Boston, obviously the bench wasn't there. We knew they weren't going to have much of a bench. They gutted it to bring in Porzingis and Drew Holiday. But as you alluded to, Jalen and Julius were both bad in this game. 6 of 21 for Jalen, as you alluded to. 5 of 22 for Julius Randle. You'd think it can't get any worse for Randle. Just continue listening on. It's going to get worse. We'll get there. But, when your 2 big guns combined only have 29 points on some really bad efficiency, it's just going to be hard to win, especially when Tatum was Tatum, 13 to 22, 34 points. And it's just, you're just going to have a tough time winning if their two of their big 3 showed up while your 2 of your big 3 did not show up. So, and I mean, I guess it's admirable they kept it as close as it was despite Brunson and Randle not playing well, but Jaylen Brown also didn't play well. Like, the odds of him playing as bad as he did on opening night are rare, so it's kind of hard to take away. I mean, there was some positive, but there was a lot more negative from this game, even though it was a close loss.
Yeah, I think the one thing to take away from this game is that bench that Tom Thibodeau, he puts in that rotation with R.J. Barrett playing in with the bench. So you bring in quickly, you bring Josh Hart, you bring DiVincenzo, you bring Hartenstein in. So that kind of role, I think, Because you notice when Randall went out of the game, they went on a run. There was the play where Hartenstein got it to the corner and Grimes got the M1-3.
Yep.
So it's just plays like that you just see out of nowhere. So it was mainly stuff like that.
Yeah, the thing was with the Knicks bench, Quickly obviously handled the scoring from there. I mean, he can thrive at his best in a Jordan Poole role, kind of like when Steph was on the bench. Jordan Poole just had the green light to fire away. That's what Quickly kind of is at his best. And I mean, Hart and Hartenstein and DiVincenzo, yeah, he threw up a donut in the opening night. You know you're going to get hustle from those guys, and while Quickly takes care of the scoring. But yeah, Randall, again, minus 13 for the whole game. And I believe there was some point in the third quarter where the Celtics were up by 10 to 12 points. Randall comes out of the game, and they went on a 9-0 run in the snap of a finger, and all of a sudden we got a close game and the Garden's rocking again. So not a great sign for Randall.
Yeah, and it was funny because before the game even started, I was watching NBA Countdown, and he's sitting there with Stephen A. Smith right by his side. And it's like a tease right before the game.
Yep.
And like we're expecting good things, and then it's just flat.
Yeah, I mean, Randall's always been a rhythm player. When he's at a rhythm, it's just really hard to watch. It really is. Now, we'll see how he plays moving forward because you know he's not going to be sticking around for any potential trade, whether it's for Karl-Anthony Towns or Joel Embiid. You know Randall's not sticking around. I feel like he even knows that too, and we'll see how he reacts to that in the upcoming games, but not a great start.
I would say this too about Randall, like he knows his name has been thrown around in trade rumors, but not just him, other players too. Like last summer, RJ Barrett was thrown around in Donovan Mitchell trades. So it's not just him. Other players could obviously get put into trade talks. It happens with every single team.
Oh, yeah, but the way RJ has been playing through the first 3 games, he might be playing his way out of the trade talks because, especially against the Hawks, he played pretty well, and I don't know if that's a great way to segue into the next game because, like, Brunson and RJ came out big against Atlanta. Randall was still, well, bad, but yeah, RJ, and even against the Pelicans, RJ was the only Knick who played decently, so who knows? Maybe RJ is the one that might be safe after all.
Yeah, I think RJ Barrett is, he's finding a way. Like we saw, he's been averaging points like so far that we've seen is what we're expecting. But now getting to the Atlanta game, Dante DiVincenzo was a complete negative in opening night.
Oh yeah,
he did not play well. He comes into Atlanta, he drops 16 points off the bench. Those points were huge because you see all the makes he made, because the Knicks would be nowhere if he was not playing well that game, because you need everybody, and having Dante there was huge. It was absolutely huge.
Well, yeah, obviously, DiVincenzo, I'm sure he took the heat for it. No, New York media, he knows this, that it was his performance in Game 1, just unacceptable. Like, 20 minutes, 6 of 10, 3 of 5, that'll work from your 6th or 7th man, especially when Brunson and Barrett are balling out. And also, and a quick shout out to the defense there, because Tatum and Porzingis were hooping. Trae Young was not hooping in this game for the Hawks. So, and it was still a very close game, which was kind of weird, because when 2 of your best players are playing and their best player is playing poorly, you would think they'd run away with the game. It just didn't happen, but it was a strong bounce back game. And obviously, DiVincenzo, like, huge 180 from Game 1.
It also made sense, too, because Atlanta doesn't have as many weapons as Boston does with their starting 5 of, like, all-stars. Like, it's completely different, obviously, because Atlanta still has a great backcourt duo with Murray and Trae Young, obviously, and their center and Clint Capella. But it was just, the Knicks had a little bit more fight in them because they knew coming off a loss, they wanted to bounce back. And this was a game that they needed. And it was a little bit of pressure towards the end because of the 2 turnovers with, like, less than a minute to go. The Knicks were having a lead. Atlanta was trying to find their way back in, but there was some plays where Capella missed an alley-oop. Trae Young missed a wide-open layup on a fast break, and the Knicks could key rebounds and making free throws in the stretch. That was the thing against Boston. Let's get back to that as well, because the free throw shooting, they need to do better.
Oh, yeah, that was absolutely abysmal. I don't have the stat right in front of me. I believe it was around the mid 50% for the whole game. That's just not going to get the job done because, again, they're free throws. They're free points. Like, Mitchell Robinson missed both of his. Grimes missed his. Randall went 1 of 5 from the free throw line. That's 20%, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to get the job done, especially when the Celtics were shooting as hot as they were for most of the game, and also they hit 84% of their free throws. So, yeah, 84% to 53% for the Knicks. That was the big difference in the game, and I believe for the Hawks game, 80%. Actually, no, 71%. So, again, better, but that's still not great. They still got to fix that.
Yeah, it's definitely something that they need to fix because this is something that a lot of these guys were working on in the offseason. So far, none of it has paid off.
Absolutely not.
And just the thing with the Atlanta game, I think, was the fact that they had a lot more players in double figures with scoring, obviously. You had some double figures off the bench. We mentioned Dante before. Quickly had 11 points, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Brunson had a career high in threes. I believe that was 8, I believe?
Yeah, 8 of 12 from 3. Of those 31 points. And quickly, yeah, he had 11 points. He shot bad, 4 of 14, 1 of 9 from 3. Thank God, like, DiVincenzo balled out because that covered up that wart. And obviously, Brunson going Super Saiyan from beyond the arc definitely saved the day. But, you know, it's always good to get a win. You would expect that. But I don't really, it's kind of hard to gauge the Hawks, actually, because they went into Milwaukee, I believe, last night, and they blew them out by 17. So, I don't know. It's kind of hard to take away a lot from this game.
Yeah, not just this, but just predicting wins in the NBA in general, not just with our Knicks, obviously, but around the league. It's so hard to predict because there's upsets everywhere. Like, I know you've been telling me this whole time, like, Oklahoma City and Orlando, like, those teams. Mm-hmm. Like, they're beating – like, they can beat up other teams. Like, you never know what can happen.
Well, yeah, especially in the early goings of a season because, like, it's a long season in the NBA, 82 games, and a bad team doesn't know that they're a bad team until around 20, 25 games in, so kind of around the new year. And, I mean, we'll see. I mean, obviously, the Knicks are not a bad team. They're not one of those teams that starts hot and just falls off. I mean, if anything, we see great teams just start out slow because they know that, we'll ramp it up once the new year begins. It kind of like hit a second gear. I don't know if the Knicks are good enough to do that, though, so I feel like it's important for them to get wins early on.
Yeah, and especially with this 10-game stretch, that 10-game stretch is going to end with Boston again.
Oh, yeah.
At Boston. So that's going to be the tough part here. But now getting to this third game that took place on Saturday. This is the first of a back-to-back. They have another back-to-back, which we'll get to later on in the episode. But we're going to take a quick break here before we get to our coverage of the New Orleans game. And we'll be right back after just in a few moments.
Hey there, basketball fans. Are you ready to take your love for the game to a whole new level? Well, listen up. We've got something that will make your hoop dreams come true. Introducing Sport Pros USA, the ultimate destination for all your backyard sport court needs. Whether you're a diehard Knicks fan or just looking for some slam dunk fun with your family, Sport Pros USA has got you covered. Picture this, it's a sunny afternoon in New York, and you step out onto your very own custom-built backyard basketball court. The court where legends are born and memories are made. A court where you can unleash your inner baller and shoot hoops like your favorite Knicks players. But it's not just about basketball. It's about family, friends, and fun. Whether you're hosting a game of horse with your buddies or teaching your kids how to dribble and shoot, Sport Pros USA brings the magic of the game right to your doorstep. Our courts are more than just a place to play. They're a place to connect, bond, and create unforgettable moments. And with Sport Pros USA, you can have it all, right in your own backyard. We're not just building courts, we're building dreams. Dreams of buzzer beaters, comebacks, and endless laughter. So why wait? Give us a call at 877-HOOPS-NJ or visit sportprosusa.com today to start designing your very own backyard basketball court. Remember, at Sport Pros USA, we believe that every home deserves a court, and every family deserves the joy of playing together. So don't just watch the game, be a part of it.
And we are back on episode 6 of Empire State Hoops. Once again, this is Adam Rothschild alongside Matthew Vargo. And now we're going to get to the third game of this discussion, that being the game on the first back-to-back that they had against the New Orleans Pelicans. And it was not a fun ending.
It was a disaster. That's what it was.
Absolutely.
Now, this was the classic case of everything that could go wrong did go wrong early on. I mean, they lost the first quarter 26-12. And Zion and Brandon Ingram obviously balled out. and nobody else, like as I alluded to earlier, RJ was the only semi-decent Knick that played in the Pelicans game. And even then, he was 7 of 16 and 1 of 6 from 3 and had a minus 15. And I alluded to that this was the nadir for Julius Randle. 4 of 15, 0 of 5 from 3, 8 turnovers. He had 8 turnovers in this game. Now, I mean, everybody else was bad as well, so I mean, I guess it fits, but still, again, he's just having a really rough time in the early goings.
We just know that, like, in the league, not just with Julius Randle, you cannot have up to 8 turnovers to be an all-star. Like, that's just not where you want to be right now, especially for a guy like him. He knows he has to figure it out.
And I'm sure he probably will figure it out at some point because, I mean, obviously, you're going to get the heat from it because, I mean, you could argue that he is their best player. I know Jalen Brunson had that. I believe it's Jalen Brunson, but Jalen Brunson so far has had one elite season. Julius Randle's made the All-Star game twice. But yeah, I just don't really know what is going on. And yet, just 10 points, bad shooting, when you have almost as many turnovers as points. He had double the amount of turnovers as he had made field goals. No, like, it's not going to work that way. You can't win with your first or second best player playing like that.
It's just virtually impossible. Like, I don't know what it is with Julius Randle, but he's just got to figure it out. It's season after season. There's always something. Even with success, there's always something. So,
how much longer until we see the thumbs down again? How much longer do you think we see
just wait till the next home game against Boston. Just wait. It's going to happen just again. But we need to give credit to New Orleans because running into a healthy Zion Williamson and a healthy Brandon Ingram is the hardest thing to do, probably.
I don't know if it's the hardest thing to do. It's certainly difficult. I personally think the hardest thing to do is when KD, Book, and Beal are all healthy in Phoenix. I feel like that's going to be the toughest test for any team. But, yeah, Zion, I mean, because we all know Zion's great. He just doesn't play. He's always hurt. And I feel like the Pelicans, I don't know if they're going to have like a minutes restriction him throughout the course of the season. I mean, they didn't really need to implement it. He only played 28 minutes in the Knicks game. And like we all know Brandon Ingram, he's made an all-star team, right? Brandon Ingram?
I believe once, I think.
Yeah, so we all know, like, this Pelicans team has firepower. CJ McCollum, I mean, he wasn't great in this game, but still, we all know CJ McCollum's, he's been there, done that, been on several great playoff runs with Dame. So, yeah, if the Pelicans can just stick together, stay healthy, they could definitely be a dark horse contender in the West, which is why I feel like it's not a terrible loss in the grand scheme of things. Now, I mean, I guess defensively holding them to 96 points was fine, but again, 87 and sloppy turnovers, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, I think just going on a back-to-back, that's the thing we're going to get to right away, because going on a back-to-back, you have 2 of them back-to-back, actually, because we had the Atlanta and New Orleans one. Now we have the back-to-back with Cleveland coming up. This is going to be the playoff rematch that I'm sure some people have been waiting for because Donovan Mitchell wants his revenge. We know we know that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be tomorrow night or on Tuesday night in Cleveland, and then they got Wednesday in New York. So it's going to be a tough stretch, but is this team built for it? Like, are the Knicks built for it? That's what we have to think about here because the first back-to-back did not show that.
Well, the thing is about this back-to-back, it was a double road back-to-back where they were at Atlanta and then at New Orleans. So that's hard for any team to bring your A game back-to-back nights on the road, especially with all the travel and whatnot. But they start out in Cleveland. It's on TNT. And God, I'm going to be so hyped to see the TNT in studio with Chuck and Ernie and Shaq. I just love those guys. They have great chemistry. But I do think that the Knicks, I don't think they win the first game. I think they come back and win the second game of the back-to-back, mainly because, I mean, Cleveland, as you alluded to, the Cavs are going to come out hungry to win this game. They're going to be in front of their home crowd, and they lost two of their 3 home games, I believe, in the series last season. So they're trying to defend their home court, and I just think it's going to be hard. especially with it being the third straight road game and the third game in 4 days. So I think the Cavs win the first one, but the Knicks will come back and win the second one at MSG.
That's a similar scenario that I was thinking of also, because Cleveland did make some good additions in the offseason. They took Max Strus from the Miami Heat, I know.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of their key additions.
That was a good one.
Yeah, definitely. But also, I think the Knicks have to go into Cleveland and just know that, like, the crowd ain't going to be behind them. It's Cleveland's a tough place to play. It is, because that crowd is nuts. How we saw in the playoffs last year how crazy it is. Like, just like New York. It's the same thing there.
Oh, yeah, especially, like, for Cleveland, where these teams don't have a lot, like, the Cleveland sports teams don't have a lot of, like, big postseason success. And especially when they're on prime time against a good team and the world is watching, those fans go, like, hellaciously loud. I mean, I remember watching, like, some of the games that LeBron had in his second go-around with Cleveland. That place is going to be thumping. Now, I know it's, like, only the fourth game of the year, but still, it's an opportunity to get revenge. And obviously, if you want to, like, let out, and this is a time to let, I guess I'm trying to find a hard way to put into words. If you're looking for a great time to let out some petty beef, now is the time to do it, especially when it's this early in the year and you want to establish yourself. Also, I'm pretty sure the Cavs just got embarrassed by Indiana a couple nights ago, so they want to shake that as well.
Yeah, I think they're looking to bounce back off of those losses, obviously, and they want to make a statement. But looking ahead to the schedule, after that home game the Knicks have against the Cavaliers, they have at the Bucks and then home versus the Clippers. This is good. And plus, you're going to have the in-season tournament against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be tough.
Absolutely. I mean, Milwaukee, again, maybe they'll come in with extra motivation because they got embarrassed by Atlanta. And we saw how the potential of the Dame and Giannis duo on opening night against the Sixers. I mean, Dame had 39 points, perfect from the free throw line. Giannis was good. So it's going to be hard, and it's on the road, which Milwaukee's never an easy place to play. Now, the Clippers, I'm not as high on the Clippers as I think other people are. I still feel like Kawhi and Paul George are obviously going to miss time, and who knows, the locker room might be distracted with all the James Harden drama because they're still linked to him. So I feel like the opportunity to gain some ground is coming after the Milwaukee game. I think they could beat the Clippers, the Spurs. I mean, Wemby's a great, like, circus sideshow, but the Spurs are not a very good team. Neither are the Hornets. So I don't think it's as difficult as you think it will be. I think that it's a good opportunity. You don't want to squander it.
Yeah, especially playing against those, like, all-star teams. You want to just go in there and make a statement. But before we close things out, let's get back to the Cleveland game on Tuesday night. So, who is the player that you think should make a statement? I think I know who you're going to say, but I'm just going to let you do it.
I mean, it's just, obviously, we've been shredding this guy throughout the entire recording. It's got to be Julius Randle. I mean, come on. You were an all-star last year. You weren't that great in the postseason last year. Is just way off right now.
Yeah, and I hope that he comes through and just makes a statement, because that's what he did in Game 1 against the Cavaliers last year in the playoffs. He did that, and then, of course, there were some games where he was off a little bit. Game 2 was just awful. Game 3, he comes in, makes a statement. Game 4, he was a little shoveled a little bit. And then Game 5, obviously, he rolled the ankle, but came back in Game 2 against Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode of Empire State Hoops has been powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today.
Thank you so much for your support. Glad to have you on board.
Yeah, Sport Pros USA, it's really amazing to have them with us. And as we close this out, it's been episode 6 of Empire State Hoops with Adam Rothschild and Matthew Vargo. Make sure to tune into the Knicks and the Cavaliers on Tuesday night on TNT. And they also play on Wednesday for that back-to-back, so make sure to tune in. So long from the studio.